there. Welcome to Healthy Cooking with your friendly Italians. I'm Jim Biro.
I'm Marilyn Biro.
And welcome back to the winter wonderland. We need warm, soothing things, comfort food for winter.
So we're back to soups.
Soups, right. Can't get enough soups. Plus, we're going to be talking about the Super Bowl and Super Bowl foods and something I never thought I would talk about, crock pots. I like them. I don't know why. Chinese comfort food we're going to talk about. Something you know, it's called congee. And we're going to talk about that. It's something that my son loves, I like, Marilyn hates. So we'll go from there. All right. You know, we last time we talked about all the wonderful soups that were made in the local restaurants, and they're all extremely good.
Yes, there's good ones all over.
And so we decided, from all the ones that we ate, maybe we should choose one that we think was the best. They're all good, but maybe the best. And so we talked about it, and we came up with one, and that is which one, Marilyn?
Well, it's the Gould, because we just went over for their buffet. They're having a lunch buffet every day, which is really great, which does feature a soup. And of all the varieties of soup that we've eaten at the Gould, they're all good. They apparently have an excellent soup chef. The manager told us, but every soup we've had, we've loved. Yeah. So we're gonna deem that the Gould has, variety-wise, they have the best soups.
And then also, Marilyn, another Avicoli's has a buffet, and they have great soups.
They feature a soup. Both of those buffets feature good soups. So all you restaurants out there, we've tasted Little Italy, Third Ward, Chinese, Opus, Deli, Red's, Parker, Antonina's, Avicoli's. All and
good.
Cafe 19.
And Cafe 19.
Now, we haven't tasted as many there, but we'll get there.
Yeah. So we urge you to go on out and mostly in this type of weather and warm your innards. So talking about warming our innards, we've got a soup which Marilyn absolutely loves.
Yes.
And I do too. And we've got a little demo on it, and when we get into it, I'll show you the thing that is a little tricky in it that'll make all the difference in the world. So we're going to show you this soup, which is a chicken breast with spinach, orzo, and lemon.
And it's based on the Greek, what they call the lemon soup, or they have a name for it. I can't remember. Do you?
I can't pronounce it. Ageremistq.
Yes, it has. It starts with an A. Right. Well, no. But anyway, it's in most Greek restaurants, and it is based with a lemon chicken idea.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to demo to you, and you'll see what's important with this demo, or you can get stringy soup. So I'm cracking an egg, and I'm going to beat that egg up. And there's another egg that's going into this, and this is what's going to create part of this creaminess to it. We're not putting any cream or anything like that in it. Now, the thing that makes it light and really refreshing is the lemon zest that we're putting in here, which I'm doing with a micro planer, and then I'll cut up that lemon and use my favorite tool to get the juice out of it. I use in this recipe, there's three things I use a lot: the squeezer, the zester, and the emulsifier, which we'll use in a little bit.
Now, Italians use egg in soup, and they call it stracciatella, but then they let it boil, and it looks like strings.
Right. The
Greek way of doing it is not letting it cook in that manner, that it becomes stringy, that it just becomes creamy.
And the taste of it is completely different with the stracciatella versus this. This has a completely different flavor. Marilyn, prefer this than I do.
Yes.
I should have my mouth washed out with soap. But
I like the stracciatella though too.
I know.
But I do like this, and it has that creamy flavor and the creamy texture without putting cream in it, which makes it nice.
Now here I'm using the emulsifier. Now this is what's so important. I've got the stock cooking over there, and I'm taking some of the hot broth and emulsifying it in that egg lemon mixture. If I poured it directly into that soup without doing this, it would do the stracciatella.
And then it would become small little,
But this is, and it's got that lemon and that lemon zest in there, and it makes it a very creamy soup. And as we put this in, and I'm gonna beat it as we do this, that it'll thicken up. Okay, so I'm putting it in the warm soup little by little. This is on low, and I'm adding that egg.
And you can see it changes the color. It makes it a creamy look.
Yeah, it's nice. It's neat looking, actually. Tastes good, too. So we're just going to add that very slowly at a low temperature and let that thicken up just a hair. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to add some other great ingredients to this thing. We're going to take I had cooked off some rice and chicken. And the rice, excuse me, not rice, orzo. It looks like rice.
Yes.
And
that's what orzo does mean, rice.
Yes. So I'm putting the orzo in, and that has been cooked. And I show you the box of orzo. It looks like, Marilyn, what would you describe?
A larger grain of rice. Right. It isn't as small as a grain of rice, but it's the same shape.
So we added that, and we also had I took some chicken breast, a deboned chicken breast, and I poached them in there. And now I'm going to add some baby spinach that is all cleaned and ready to go. I bought this, I think, at Walmart. Fairly reasonable price on it, and I'm just going to add that. I'm going to let that cook in there so it wilts, and we'll stir that up a bit. We're almost finished now. And what else do we need here? I think what we need,
You've got
Marilyn,
the chicken in there, yeah.
We got the chicken, a little dill, a little salt and pepper.
Right.
And I think it's all going to be finished.
And it's absolutely delicious.
It is a great recipe.
And it also is like, with a salad or some kind of vegetable, as a side dish, you have a main meal. Now, Jim did something else that was a little bit different. We had so much of this left over that the next night he did cook off some sausage and another pasta and made it into a pasta dish. And that was the sauce for the pasta dish, which was, again, a very good dish.
I get a big kick out of looking in the refrigerator and seeing what's in there and say, okay, now how can I use this in something I've already made before and make it into a different type of dish? And so that's what I came up with. And I think you all will really, really enjoy this soup. It is one of my favorites, and it doesn't have a lot of fat in it. And
it's very healthy.
And don't forget the wine. A little twist. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. That's a nice soup. You should really, really try it. You should really try it. Now, in a couple weeks, we got the Super Bowl coming up.
Right.
And I sat in front of the television on Sunday for 6 hours?
Right.
And watched it. And if you watch the Super Bowl, it's going to be, with all the hype on it, it's going to be about 6 or 8 hours. And they're playing it in New York City.
In the elements. I wonder if they'll get the polar vortex.
I hope it snows. I hope it's 10 to 15 degrees below zero. These people are paying over $1,000 for a ticket.
I heard today the tickets are going for over $4,000 online.
Right.
I mean, that seems absolutely ridiculous to me.
Sit at home.
It's much more fun.
Make
Go
something.
get your crock pot out, or also just something on top of the stove. You can make all kinds of wonderful things and have a better time and see more of the game.
Absolutely. And she mentioned that word, crock pot. A crock pot, I'm a food snob, right? I'm not going to use a crock pot. Well, I started using it, and it's indispensable in my cooking, and it's wonderful. So let's use the crock pot to make a Super Bowl chili that you put on in the morning and ready to go in the by the time the game starts. So Super Bowl chili in a slow cooker or crock pot. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a saute pan and we're going to saute a couple of onions, a jalapeno pepper that's chopped up, some chili powder, and a half a teaspoon of dried oregano. And we're going to saute that for about 3 minutes. And we'll put that into the slow cooker. Then we'll take 2 pounds of either short ribs or chuck. I like the short ribs better. They're a little bit more expensive. And this is really a lot better than hamburger. And you cut it up into cubes.
Chunks, yeah.
Salt and pepper it, season it, start it, saute it, put it into the slow cooker. Add to that 3 cups of beer. I like Guinness beer in there, or beef broth. 1 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes.
And remember, if you're using alcohol in cooking, that the alcohol really cooks off. So it's really just the flavoring that you're looking for.
Absolutely, unless you drink some before.
Well, that's your problem.
So then add some pinto beans that have been rinsed off and drained. Goya is a great product for that. You can use that and let it cook for 8 to 10 hours and serve it. You have all kinds of condiments for it. You have chopped cilantro, cheddar, shredded cheddar cheese.
Yes.
I said it.
That's it.
Sour cream, chopped onions, jalapeno pickle, pickled jalapenos,
right.
Tortillas. You're set.
Now, if you really don't have a slow cooker, don't go out and buy one. Actually, any pot on top of the stove, it takes less time. But you have to watch it, and you got to stir it and be careful. But the same ingredients can be done after you've browned everything, and you can use the same ingredients, and you can do the same dish on top of the stove.
Yep. Now the next thing for the Super Bowl is sort of a derivative of a chili that again is very easy to make. We make this in a regular casserole pot that we put into the oven, which is a chili, and then you get and pour over the top cornbread.
Yes, and you can buy a mix. There's all kinds of mixes for cornbread, and you just put it on the top, and then bake this chili casserole, and that's another nice way to serve chili.
So what we're going to do is we're going to saute on the top of the stove in canola oil, a chopped onion, a minced green pepper, and 3 cloves or more of garlic, whatever you want. Cook that for about 3 minutes. Some cheddar cheese, some salt and pepper, and put it in your casserole dish. Then get your favorite kind of boxed cornbread mix. Mix it up.
Follow the directions, mix it, and put it on the top.
375 degrees, 30-40 minutes, you're done.
Right.
Now you could also add some pisoli, or you could order
canned beans.
Canned beans.
Again, make this recipe your own.
All right. Pisoli is dehydrated corn that is soaked and cooked.
Well, if it is in a can, it's called hominy.
Hominy
usually
is the same thing.
It's the same thing.
I think pisoli sounds better.
Better than hominy? Well, that's what it is. It's still the same product.
So you can do that. All right. Now, what we are going to do for Christmas, for the Super Bowl. Got this from our daughter-in-law, Jana, and it's in a crock pot, and it's Italian pulled pork. And and this is what we are going to have for the Super Bowl. And it's got some interesting ingredients in it. We're going to take and we're going to mix together some salt and some oregano, and then we're going to put a little olive oil in there and rub that into a pork shoulder that already has the bone in it, and wrap it in plastic and let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. Then take next day in a crock pot, take 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, 2 bay leaves, some red wine vinegar, some pepperoncino. How's the best? They're little peppers. You know, on a Greek salad, you'll get the little green peppers,
right?
That are a little hot,
in vinegar.
In vinegar. Chop that up, and that really adds a lot of zing to it. 2 cloves of garlic, 1 onion sliced into strips, and turn it on and cook it for 10 hours. And take it out, remove the bay leaf, get rid of all the fat, and take the bone out, and then let it cool and shred up the pork. Then puree all that wonderful sauces in there, and then add your pork back into that sauce. Get a loaf of Italian bread, glass of wine, and you're golden.
This also can be served as sliders. If you would prefer, rather than the Italian, you can do that. That way you can put on the cheese and the coleslaw and all of that. So that's another quick way for serving a group. You could make it sliders, which would taste very good that way too.
And if you can jazz it up a bit by topping your sandwich or your slider with some shredded provolone cheese and some coleslaw. Coleslaw is almost a derivative of the South. The South, when they do pulled pork, they use a lot of coleslaw. So there's another dish that we are going to have, and you could enjoy it with us on.
Right. The other thing I read the other day was, people love popcorn during the Super Bowl, and they had this thing about putting all kinds of flavors. You can put curry on it. You can make it sweet with maple syrup. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can look up that you could just give a little flavor. You could put some hot, some hot pepper on it, whatever. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of. I know down in Ithaca at the movie theater, they serve it with all kinds of flavors too.
They serve it with curry.
Curry, yeah,
that's right.
And lime. Sometimes it's a lime flavored.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you could look that up. Just give it something a little different.
A
little something different to your popcorn during the Super Bowl.
Right.
So there's another quick idea that might help with your entertainment.
Now, if the Chinese had a Super Bowl, they would be serving this.
It's called congee.
Congee, which is nothing more
than boiled rice
that becomes gruel.
It does. It reminds me of baby food, but that might be the problem.
But you add other things to it, which we'll explain. But our son lived in China, and he would eat this for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
They serve it at all 3 meals, but it's very popular for breakfast.
So it's something that I like a lot, and it's easy to make. So let me give you a recipe for Chinese comfort food called congee. A lot of people are looking at me. This guy has gone off his rocker, right off into left field. But I like it.
It's not bad.
Maybe you like it.
He says I don't like it. It all depends on what you put into it. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad.
Easy to do. Get a pot of, put 9 cups of water or stock into a pot. Add 1 cup of brown rice or white rice, or I like a short grain type of rice. Some salt, 1.5 piece of a ginger, 1.5 inch piece of ginger. Get a smoked ham hock, which you can get at Sauter's, or a smoked turkey drumstick, which is at Walmart.
Right.
Bring it to a boil, cover it, slow it down to a simmer, and cook it for 1.5 hours. Take it out, remove the ginger, Remove the ham hock or the turkey drumstick. Let it cool. Peel the meat off of that, and then put that back into this gruel. And this, in an hour and a half,
it really is sort of like a mush.
And then with that, the Chinese, they have all different condiments for it: shallots, parsley, cilantro, hams. They put little pieces of ham, soy sauce, garlic, chili sauce, all kinds of things.
You could put some more ginger in it at this point.
Yeah, you can do all of those.
You know, all kinds of things can go into it. They use, even in China, they might use more of like hearts and kinds of things, chicken pieces. They might serve it even with chicken feet. They use everything of the chicken you can possibly think of.
Well, don't they also use those 1,000-year-old eggs in it?
I think they do. Yeah,
they aren't 1,000 years old, but they look like they're.
Yeah, they do use the 1,000-year-old egg. So they
stay away from those.
Yeah, they have their own condiments about those kinds of things.
So that's our weird dish for New Year. I want to keep saying New Year's, for the Super Bowl. Okay, so that gives you some
ideas for Super Bowl.
Now, the next time we get together, we are going to do some bread making. I know nothing about bread making. I used to make bread many years ago, and
he went through a session that he was making his own bread.
I would make it,
He didn't find it as interesting as.
Well, it was sexual.
The kneading part. Well, now they actually have. The Cuisinart can knead the bread. You don't need to knead it anymore.
So, anyways, I don't do it anymore. We don't do it anymore. But we have a well-renowned fella that's going to come in here and help us. He's a bread maker. Not only is he a bread maker, everyone in Seneca Falls has probably bought a car off of him, and that's Peter Koch. And Peter Koch is going to come in, and
he's really enjoying making bread in his retirement. And he's got all new gadgets and ways of doing it, and he keeps experimenting with it and coming up with wonderful new breads. He brings us some once in a while. That's right. Invites us over and gives us more bread.
So we're going to have the pleasure of having Peter with us, and we're also going to be talking. The two of us went on a cross-country trip. Traveling on what we call on our bellies.
This was with Peter, yes.
Peter, and basically we went and we would go out of our way as we crossed the country eating junk food. What else am I going to say? So we're going to talk about that a little bit. Going from the sublime to the ridiculous, we're going to be talking about cauliflower and how wonderful cauliflower is for you. And
all the ways you can do it. It's another way of there's so many new recipes out there that you can use. It's also a nice thing for children who are not happy to have vegetables if you use it. We've made a mashed potato, broccoli or cauliflower that you can't tell the difference. No one can tell the difference. You can put the cauliflower in with your mashed potatoes, a roasted potato.
I take I bake potatoes in the microwave, add cauliflower to it, and make mashed potatoes, and it is very good.
You usually use a stock or something, and don't use any milk, or do you use a little milk?
No milk.
And
I do use a little butter, but we'll get into that. So we're going to try that. So try not to freeze. Enjoy the Super Bowl. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. So have a great time. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Ciao.